Whether you own a home or whether you're looking to buy a home, we all know how expensive things are these days, right? Well, this has caused many people to, tighten up their belt and make sure that they make good buying decisions. So with that in mind, I thought I would discuss today why owning a home with a mother-in-law suite may be a good financial decision for you. And there are quite a few benefits. One of the reasons it came to mind today is that I am going out and listing a home with a mother-in-law suite. So I started looking up all the benefits, even though I knew what they were. I wanted to find out exactly what some of the statistics, I hate saying that word, statistics are. The number of people that have homes with a granny flat, let's say, in it, efficiency apartment or something like that. Anyways, let's talk about it.
So what are the benefits of having an in-law suite?
This type of property, a home with a mother-in-law suite or a separate apartment, something to that extent, is great for families that need flexibility. As I mentioned before, we're all looking to save money these days. And if you have an apartment, an efficiency apartment or something like that at your house, it's an excellent way to bring in some rental income. Lower the nut. Maybe you still have a mortgage. Or maybe you just need some extra money to pay that Medicare Part B policy, right? Maybe you're a little younger. Should be thinking about the future because, one, you may need that money. We're all aging. There's nothing to stop it, at least as far as I can tell. And if you're aging, so are your parents. And someday you may have to have your parent live with you. So planning now is very important. Or maybe your kid moves back in, right? They can't afford to buy houses these days. You don't have a basement for your kid to live in and play video games. That granny flat might come in handy. All right, let me give you some there's that word again. Let me give you some statistics. All right, so in 2021, about 18% of Americans lived in multi-generational homes. That's up 7% since 1971. So it is growing in popularity. Even some of the builders are starting to jump on the bandwagon, and I think more of them should, really, because it is a necessity. In 2024, 36% of households cited cost savings as the reason they chose a multi-generational house, meaning a house that has like a mother-in-law suite. And as I mentioned, 21% of them said the reason they did it is because they had a child that moved back in.
AI-driven layoffs are shrinking the job market for recent grads, and per the World Economic Forum, they expect unemployment to reach 22% by 2030. With that said, can you guess what the top reason is for people wanting a mother-in-law suite?
35% cited caregiver needs, meaning they were going to have to take care of someone within their family that couldn't live alone. And I don't know if you even remotely looked at what a facility for an aging person, I hate to use the word, but old folks home, they're like $8,000 a month. So next year there'll be $9,000 a month. And then there'll be $10,000 a month. Who can afford that? So maybe when you're looking at buying a home, looking for a home that has a mother-in-law suite or an efficiency apartment or a space that where one could be added easily. So even if you own a home, adding something like this to your property could be a wise decision. Now, if you want to rent it out, of course, you're going to need to have a separate entrance. All it needs to have is a small efficiency kitchen, a bathroom, a bedroom, you know, and then, you know, the nicer it is, of course, the higher the rent you could get if you wanted to rent that out. But, you know, mom and dad might have to move in, or maybe one of them passes away and the other one doesn't want to live alone anymore. It's life. So these are things you should start thinking about now. And if you wanted to know, approximately 51 million Americans live in multi-generational homes. That's a lot of people. And I think that number is going to grow. Here's one for you that you might not have thought of. You know, buying a home that you are going to live in, or if you already own that home, if you needed money. Well, you know, if you buy an investment property, they want a big amount of cash, 20, 30% down. But if you're buying a home, multi-generational home, has that mother-in-law suite, well, you can buy that home on a conventional loan for 5% down or 3.5% down. If it were an FHA loan versus an investor loan, well, it's going to cost you a big ol' down payment and a much higher rate. If you think someday that you may end up being a caregiver and you are looking for a house, highly consider the layout of the home and whether or not you will be able to make that happen, whether it has one in it when you buy it, or whether you hire a contractor to add one. You should seriously consider the layout of the home to see if it's feasible. Another thing to consider if you're buying a home, or even if you're not, we're all going to retire someday, hopefully, right? And maybe you're going to age in place. You know, maybe it's not your parents that you got to worry about. Maybe it's you. So, looking at the width of doorways and whether a wheelchair or walker could get through is also something to consider. If you think, one, you may age in place in the home, stay in it to the day that you die, that's me. It's probably what I'm going to do in my house. Or if you think you're going to be a caregiver and a walker or a wheelchair is going to be needed, you got to look at those door widths. And if they're not wide enough, that is something you need to put into the equation to widen them when making decisions, planning, budgeting for making those type of improvements. So there are a lot of benefits to having a home that has some type of separate living quarters, whether it's to bring in supplemental income or to take care of a parent where you don't have to pay out that $8,000, $9,000, or $10,000 a month in, you know, old age care, because that's definitely what's going to cost, or more. Is this something that you've thought about? Has it even crossed your mind? And tell me in the comments below, would you buy a home that had a mother-in-law suite? Here's a big one for you. It increases the value of the property depending on where that property is located, meaning what city and state, as much as 35%. No kidding. So the property is worth more when it has that type of living quarters within the household. Okay, I'm gonna shoot over there, meet the photographer, having the home photographed. I'll probably take a few video clips, and if I do, I'm gonna throw them in this video so you can see. Maybe you're in the market for one. Let me know what you think. Anyways, make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave me a comment. Come back and see me next week. Take care.